Thank you, Prof. We also have another related question there in our chat box by Sister Siti Nadia Muhammad Ali. So she is asking this question, Prof, how should the pattern of Madani society be guided by the Islamic system without being invaded?
Can you please repeat again?
How should the pattern of Madani society be guided by the Islamic system without being invaded?
Without being invaded by whom?
Sister Siti Nadia, would you furnish us more detail in the chat box? Prof is asking some clarifications here from us. What do you mean by the invaders?
The ruler, invaded by the ruler, is it?
I see, by the ruler, yes.
Malaysian ruler? The Sultan, the king? or the political figures?
I guess in general, yeah, Prof? Yes.
In general, yeah?
Yeah, in general.
Well, okay. There are a few things that probably we can discuss. The first thing is who initiated the Malaysia Madani? And definitely it is a political leader, right? Political leader. And it's quite interesting to observe and to compare with the previous Islamic initiative. We know that during Dr. Mahathir, he introduced what they call a penerapan nilai Islam, inculcations of the nilai-nilai Islam, nilai murni, yeah, okay, good values. And then later on, during the Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi, he introduced Islam Khadari. Then after that, we came to know about Maqasid Syariah Wasatiyah and also Malaysian Sharia Index by Dato' Najib. Then later on, we can also observe the emergence of Rahmatan lil Alamin, yeah, introduced during the PH ruling, especially introduced by the Minister of the Religious Affairs, Dr. Mujahid. And then later on, when the government changed, we were introduced by Manhaj Rabbani. Yeah? And then after that, we were Piagam 19. Yeah, Piagam 19. And then lately, we have been introduced with Malaysian Madani. So you can see that it's kind of tradition for all political leaders to introduce the tagline. But I'm sure that all of the initiatives are good, and they are thinking for the goods of the people of Malaysia, alhamdulillah. And for Madani, it's quite interesting because it's quite unique in the sense that, number one, is a concept. If you read the Madani book in Malay, written by our Prime Minister, they use the concept Madani. But then if we read the books in English, and Madani is not used anymore. So they use the terms script, S-C-R-I-P-T, script, yeah? Script. So the first question is that, is Madani, the concept of Madani, really significant in the Malaysia Madani idea? Why they do not use the concept of Madani itself also in the English book of Madani? That's one. I'm sure that they have the reason. Alhamdulillah, we at ISTEF are now trying to understand it, and a few of my colleagues are studying about it and try to understand it. And we'll later on we'll come whether it is actually Islamic or not. Yeah. Number two, usually a concept, yeah, the acronyms used. Usually we use the first letter of the words. Ya, kalau Madani, for instance, M. What is M? A, what is A, D, what is D, and also so on and so forth. But then in Madani, they actually do not take the first letter of the word, the sentence, but it is more choosing, for instance, in the first at the aims, and then we try to find, is there any letter by the letter M, for instance, irrespective whether irrespective where it is located, whether as the first letter, the last letter, or the letter in the middle. So we're not sure about that, why it is so. And then number 3, it is quite interesting also. Usually, we can see kalau penerapan nilai Islam, Islam Hadari, Index Malaysia, Syariah Malaysia, and then we can see that they came from the Prime Minister themselves. Later on, Rahmatan lil Alamin, Manhaj Rabbani, and also the Piagam 19, they came from the Minister of Religious Affairs. But then all of them are based on JAKIM. Mana JAKIM has been given the task to pursue it, to implement it, and to monitor whatever that they can monitor. But then for Masyarakat Madani, it's not JAKIM who organized, who introduced, who initiated the Malaysia Madani. Rather, it is from IDE, Institute Darul Ihsan, which is a think tank, I think of Selangor State think tank, I think, based in UNICEL, based in UNICEL. So it is not at JAKIM, but it is rather IDE is much more active in that. And JAKIM, the Minister of Religious Affairs, seemed to introduce Al-Falah strategy to fulfill the implementations of Masyarakat Madani. But the main player is IDE rather than JAKIM. So this is quite interesting to research on and to understand. We at SF has not met with the people that developed the Masyarakat Madani as yet. We intend to do so to understand. And at the moment, we are rather neutral. We know that it is good for the people of Malaysia, but we want to know the details of it. And eventually, we want to know whether they are based on Islamic development strategies or otherwise. We can see during the discussions, in the discussions of the Masyarakat Madani, there are 2 camps who were saying, the first camp was saying that Masyarakat Madani is actually Islamic civilizational strategy, taken from the traditional thinking, the ideologies of the great scholars, the previous scholars. But at the same time, within the same groups of people who are also thinking that Masyarakat Madani is actually trying to establish a civil society. So we wonder whether which one is true, Islamic civilization society or civil society. And people are saying that if we tend to establish an Islamic civil society, we need to redefine it again, to see it again, to understand it, what it is actually. Because if you see the civil society from conventional perspective, it is quite different from Islamic perspective. It's just not in it. So ini banyak lah. I think it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting to get to know more about this. Hopefully that this government will last long, and then so that we researchers can have much time to study about it. Kalau dulu Rahmatan lil Alamin, we try to study, but then later on stop when the PHP government fall down after 22 months. So studying within 22 months to understand it tak sempat. And hopefully that for masyarakat Madani, we have the opportunity, we had the time to study, to understand. And in fact, if it is really good, inshallah, we need to help them to implement whatever is good for the people of Malaysia, inshallah, and for the Ummah. Right, Dr. Yuslida, Nurul Yuslida.
Thank you very much, Prof. MashaAllah, it's indeed a lifelong learning, yeah, Prof.